All right, probably the biggest mistake I see athletes make is when it comes to base training. And if you're new to endurance athletics, what is base training? Really quick, it is the foundational fitness that all other workouts are built upon. It is a requirement in order for you to reach your maximum peak fitness. If you get it wrong, you're never going to fully realize your potential. That's why it's incredibly important. I have just often described it for new athletes as like you're building a skyscraper. So the foundation of your skyscraper is your base fitness. The height of the skyscraper is like your peak fitness level. And if you don't have a good foundation, none of it's going to work. You get through the season, you start adding stories, and then you get to like peak fitness in June. You want to add that space needle of fitness, and none of it works without that base. Some people try to build that space needle from the ground, and you get sick one week, it topples over. Something goes wrong at work, it topples over. So it's really important. It's incredibly important to build that basal foundation of fitness. That's what we're talking about today. It's really hard to do. It takes a lot of time, which is a good segue into the second question I often get, which is, when should I start base training? And the answer is as soon as possible. The good thing about these low intensity zones that you do in base is it's low impact. It's has no long-term fatigue effects. So let's start with the first one. Let's talk about the tried and true Zone 2 endurance ride. That is 60 to 70% of your FTP, essentially as long as you can tolerate. This is like really the bread and butter of base fitness. You're burning fat as an energy source instead of carbs. Because it's such low intensity, because it's long duration, it has a really low injury risk potential. It's really hard to over fatigue. It's really something I start my new athletes with. And the next one is, of course, Sweet Spot. Love it or hate it, I have all my athletes start their base with some Sweet Spot. And they've all experienced huge gains because of Sweet Spot work. Sweet Spot is, by the way, it's you start with 10 to 12 minutes of usually around 85% FTP, and then you build up both the duration and the intensity as you build towards the season. And let me give you a bonus workout. Don't neglect those group rides, especially if you are new to the sport. Pack riding skills, the dynamic of riding with the group, staying in the draft, incredibly important. So here's how you can hit two birds with one stone. Join that local group ride, even if it's in the base season, like around this time of year, and get those pack riding skills dialed. Let those dorks smash up the climbs as hard as they can. They're the ones who are building that space needle from the ground surface. You're the one who's building that basal foundation. So I want you to sag the climbs. If you don't know what sagging means, you start at the front, you end at the back. That way you can get that zone 3, zone 4 sweet spot work during the group ride, and you're not absolutely pinning yourself and smashing and like introducing all of this fatigue when you really should be focusing on those lower zones and that foundational basal fitness. So then the question becomes, how long should you stay in the base season? When should you transition to specialty work? When should you start peaking for the season? These are all great questions. These are really big topics outside the scope of this video, and that's why I created the Couch to Crit Masterclass. It's more than just these training plans. It is a step-by-step guide to shortcut your journey from equipment to strategy to bike handling, fitness, and everything in between, which by the time you're watching this is 25% off. I'll leave a link in the description. If you followed last season of Couch to Crit, you saw the insane gains that EJ made following the course. If you go back to season 1, Logan was the same story, incredible gains, race wins in the same season. Join the hundreds who've already signed up, check out the link. But here's the thing, I don't want money to be the reason you can't access the course. So although I encourage you to take advantage of the discount we're putting together, there's also a scholarship program. It takes 5 minutes to fill out. It is a Google form. We get answers back to you within a day or two. So with that said, I hope to see you guys in the next members live stream in Couch to Crit Masterclass. Stay safe out there and happy training.